Okay, guys, so this is part 3 of the 3-part series. This is the last video, but I probably will be posting more videos just to keep you updated as to what's going on in her case. But I want to first say thank you to each and every person that took the time out to watch these videos. I really, truly appreciate it. She appreciates it. We both appreciate it because no one would help her. No one would listen. And I'm actually the only and first person who actually took the time to listen to her and do this and share her story. And I'll do this for anyone that needs help. And I want to let everyone know that if you feel like you haven't been heard, no one is listening to you, I'll listen and I'll put it out there. But I want you guys to, while you're reading this, to know that she will be in the chat while this is premiering, and to answer any questions that you may have. And I just want you guys to please send love and light to her because she needs it. Any type of love and light, any good energy, all of that. And this broke my heart, and this is the least that I could have done for her. And I'm glad that I did it. And I'm going to be here for her whenever or if she needs me. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in for this and caring, because carbonation doesn't need all of our attention. Real people seeking real help needs our attention. And that's what I'm going to give her. Thank you again, y'all.
For the longest, and no one will help me, because to me this would be the biggest cover up in New Jersey that is known, unforeseen. I was on the way on a trip. I left Tuesday, and my return date was June 22nd, which was that Friday. I spoke to him before boarding the plane back to Jersey while I was in Dominican Republic. He asked me what time my flight would land, so he could already be there. Now, the kicker is we had to be in Maryland at a certain time due to the fact that he had an important meeting, an important meeting that he had to attend to. So I landed. I'm waiting out there, waiting, calling his phone. His phone was going straight to voicemail. Unusual. Because like I said, he has somewhere important to be.
Right.
I paced it back and forth, walking. I'm like, what is going on? So nobody knew we had a code word. And the code word was, if I say I'm calling the cops, that is for him to call me. If he don't call me, then I know something is desperately wrong. So,
okay, the code word was you saying I'm calling the cops, and if he doesn't call, that means something's wrong?
Right.
Okay, got it.
Right. It's probably unusual to you, but it's, yeah.
Yeah, every couple has its price. I get it.
Right. So, yeah, me and my sons is our old dog name. You know what I'm saying? Somebody walk up to you and say, Mommy said this, that, and the third. You ask them what's the code. And that code, and him and I had that code for a particular reason.
Right.
So, his sister called me out the blue. And I said, where your brother at? I'm calling the cops. Because I know if she could get in touch with him. I'm waiting at the airport now. It's already 4 o'clock. I've been at the airport like an hour and a half. So she said, I don't know, maybe something happened to him. I said, what? As soon as she's saying that, I get the text on the phone from his phone at 5:01. So I immediately hung up the phone on her to call him, and it's going straight to voicemail. little brother, because we are born and raised in New Jersey.
Okay.
So I called my little brother for him to come and get me. I said, something is wrong. Jermaine is not answering the phone, and Jermaine has to be in Maryland at a particular time. So he picks me up from the airport. I'm going to alleviate what I saw at the airport, because it's going to be, some people say irrelevant, but I'm not crazy. They was at the airport waiting for me, right?
The police was at the airport.
Right. They was a detective. They was in suits. They had a folder in their hand. My ID is totally different from what I look like. So my ID, I have a short haircut. I went on vacation, so I got a long weave.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm walking outside to smoke a cigarette, every time I turn around, they on my heels. I'm like, damn, I know I ain't bringing up for Dominican Republic. So that's when my brother came and got me. So when I went to my brother's house, now Jermaine is born and raised where my brother lived at. But when we got to his vicinity, all I seen was sheriff cops. Everywhere I walked, there was a sheriff officer. So I walked around the whole vicinity where he be at. Didn't see the car, didn't see a soul. So when I'm walking back, I stopped one of the officers. I said, have you seen the blue BMW? He said, no, but if I see it, I will let you know. He never asked me my plate and never asked me my name. So I said, okay, cool. I'm standing outside my brother's house. I never went inside his house. My girlfriend called me because our paper is NewJersey.com. And she said, look in the paper. I think this is Jermaine. Now, all you saw was a BMW rim, a tire. You can, to this day, you would never find that original article, because the article was edited June 23rd. Because I believe that they was chasing a black BMW that day. That black, whoever they was chasing, he hit 2 houses in a tree. W was midnight blue. And on the police report, you will see that the color, they named the color. My color wasn't black. My car wasn't black. And you can see that in broad daylight. The car of my color was blue. So I'm looking in the paper, and I'm like, there's no names in the paper. Happened. Same county. They just say this person's in grave condition. 10 minutes later, I get a phone call. Inside. Do you know Jermaine Covington? Yeah, that's my husband. Is these your plates? Yeah, that's my car. Can you come to the precinct? I said, how? When you have my car? Gang started. They come to you. Okay, they came to my brother's house. It was 3 Hillside police cars and 2 homicide detectives cars. So that's 5 cars. So I'm still in my head thinking this is him in the paper. So when they walked up to me, I'm saying, no, please don't tell me that's him in the paper. They said, no, your husband committed suicide, and I seen it. And they left me right there on the ground. My girlfriend picked me. And I'm like, wait, I'm babbling. My mind is going. I said, I ain't commit suicide. And they said, you have to come with me to the precinct. I said, fine. They didn't take me in the car as usual, right? Mm-hmm. So my girlfriend took me to the precinct. We all went to the precinct. We out there standing out there for a half an hour, waiting to get in. I mean, I don't know. You said you was ready, so why do I have to wait outside? Right. While we waiting outside, the emergency cleanup crew is there. He don't know who I am, but I see him going there with buckets of stuff, buckets. So I said, wow, you got a lot to clean up tonight? He said, I sure do. Okay. So now, I don't know if they saw me talking to him. Now they let me in the precinct. So they put me in an interrogation room. I swear to God, I felt like that I was the criminal.
Wow.
And I'm like,
the way they handled that is all wrong.
Right. There was no crime scene by the time I got there. It was 8-something o'clock. Now, if you look at the report, there's different time of death date time. So I went in the back. So I said, where's my car? Because I still had to get to Maryland for my son. So they kept on avoiding the question, was my car drivable? They never answered the question. So we sat down, and I'm with one homicide detective, Sullivan, and his boss. So they put the phone
Wait, that was
I
the
said, what you want to
first
know?
thing out of their mouth?
Tell me something bad about him, because now you have to create a story,
Oh, my
right?
God, right.
So tell me something bad about him. I said, what you want to know? Is he a savage? What? An animal? I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure you looked up his record. We left Jersey 2004, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Jermaine done changed his life. Worked every day, landscaping. You know, he done changed his life. So every time he go back to Jersey, for either for me to get my hair done or for me to fly out if I'm doing the girls trip. So I'm still delirious, but I'm babbling. I'm saying shit that don't even make sense, because I can't fathom, like, how he commit suicide and process it. So he asked me, was he on drugs? Did he have a mental issue? I said, yeah, he was bipolar, schizophrenic, and manic depressive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he was like, yeah, he said, I know, we got family like that, blah, blah, we got to do drugs, blah, blah, blah. I told him he got shot in his head, the same side, where the bruise is at. I said, he got shot in his head, and he got shot in his hip. He doesn't have a hip, right?
Okay.
I was talking a little bit too much, because this is how they was gathering the information. When they asked me what was his phone provider, that's when I should have stopped right there. But my mind is still running, like, his phone provider.
Yeah.
So one thing he said to me that I know Jermaine said, he said, have you ever heard Jermaine say he could jail? I said, yeah. So they probably was going back and forth and said, your ass is going to jail. Jermaine said, I don't care. I know how to jail. I've been jailing since I was 7. You better ask my name in the penitentiary. So I know he said that, right? So I know Jermaine wasn't scared to go to jail, because this was a portraying that he carjacked somebody, and now he's counting the years that he's going back to, no, for a traffic stop. Because when you first stopped him, it had nothing to do with carjacking if you look at the paperwork.
Right.
The first thing was he was in an accident. They couldn't do that because there was no accidents reported. Then they said my car was reported stolen. Couldn't use that because I never reported my car stolen. We was married. The car was registered in North Carolina, so Jermaine had every right to that car than I did because of state.
Right.
So when he asked me who was his phone provider, that's when I woke up. I said, oh, shit. So he said, I need you to sign this paper. It was an affidavit. He said, we need to search your car. So I'm saying to my mom, search my car. You searched my car when you apprehended him. But they were trying to scare me. They said, well, something in your car that you don't want to do. I said, wait a minute, hold up. I just came back from, I don't know what's going on. He said, we know you don't have nothing to do with what's going on, but we need to search your car. So the paperwork that they gave me to sign, it had a big X at the top, and I signed my name. It's for if we need to search your house, but we don't have to do that because the car is your possession. That was my worst of signing that paper, right? Because that gave them permission to move my car anywhere they wanted to. I didn't know that at the time. So I'm still asking, is my car drivable? I said, well, can I see my husband? He said, why would you want to see him? That's television shit.
What?
I said, huh? He said, why would you want to see your husband? That's television shit. So I said to him, I said, you desensitized. He said, no, I understand what you're going to say. No, you don't. So I knew right then and there, this was some bullshit here. So once they got that paper signed, the interview, he said yes. Because that's all they needed. So when I'm walking out the interrogation room, the lieutenant office at my right, I look, it's like 8 officers in his office looking at the surveillance. So I stopped right in my tracks. I said, I hope y'all not going to edit that tape. That's when they marched me right out, straight out the precinct. She got to go. Because what are y'all watching? That murder just happened in here. What are y'all watching? Right? That's when they marched me outside. Now I'm not outside. I'm outside in the hallway with the civilians be at. So I got 5 police surrounding me. I got the lieutenant, the homicide detective. Nobody had a card to give me. I said, well, can you tell me where his body at? No one had no information. I said, how you commit suicide when there's no belt, no shoelaces and processing? We can't tell you that, man. I said, what's your probable cause of pulling him over? We can't tell you that, man. I said, okay. I'm about to put him in the headlock. So I'm sitting there. I said, the only way I will believe, and I should have had my phone on recording, that Jermaine would commit suicide if he took a cop gun. When I left that precinct, I called every news station, Channel 13, everything from New York to New Jersey. 4 hours later, they intercepted my story and took my narrative and said, Maryland man took cop gun and committed suicide. That's how I found out how he died in the newspaper.
Oh my God.
Right. So they took my narrative and ran with it because now you got a narrative. That's what I said.
Off of what
okay,
you
so I
said.
What about the... Oh, off of what I said. No, and nobody don't believe me. I'm not crazy. I'm a fool thing. I know what I said. I know what happened that day. So they let me... So I said, so nobody still don't have a card. The white man that was in the room with the recording, he wrote a name and a piece of paper. A name and a number on a piece of paper. I still have it to this day. That wasn't even his name. That wasn't even him. My father said, well, call. Well, you ain't getting your car. They was making me believe the car was drivable. So that's why I stayed in Jersey the following day. I called one place, my car not there. So I'm asking, like, my car drivable? Like, what's going on? You're acting strange. Click. No, you gotta come up here and see it. Okay. So I'm calling, like, where's his body? Now, Union County Morgue, medical examiner. Right? I said, okay. So this is where the saga began. Now, I'm looking for a car. Just so happens his number pop up on my phone. I call his car dealer. She tried to put me in a BMW, and I test drove the BMW. I almost hit it. I almost hit a wall. I didn't say nothing. So she said, well, I'm going to refer you to somebody that I know in Jersey. How the hell this lady from Maryland knew somebody in Jersey, I don't know. But who she referred me to, this lawyer, he wasn't never for me. He was with them. He knew them. He knew the prosecutors.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to set a date. So I was calling around. I got his body transferred to Curry's funeral home. So when I got there, he was just pulling up with the body. So he said, let me carry the body inside. Carry the body inside. He said, baby, I don't know what they did to your husband. He said, because I don't even see a gunshot wound. He said, I'm going to tell you this. He said, I'm going to help you. He said, because they crooked in this county. He said, they took my contract away from me, picking up bodies. He said, you got to watch and be careful about the medical examiner. Mm-hmm. They're very janky. He said, they sent this man to jail saying that he killed his wife, but come to find out she committed suicide. He said, I'm going to help you. Just don't forget about me. I said, you got it. So he went into another room, right? Mm-hmm. And his cameras. You could see me on the camera. So when I walked in the room to see his head was still in the back, I started screaming his name. And 7 days later, he still got blood coming out his ears.
Oh, my God.
When I called his name, he took his last breath. He opened up his mouth. So I said, man, pull down the sheet, man. Let me see his arms. Because one of Jermaine's arms, he was a minor paraplegic. His left hand was paralyzed. Mm-hmm. He got stabbed in the neck in high school with a pencil. His mother didn't do what she's supposed to do to get it rehabilitated. So it stuck like an L, like a chicken wing. Yeah. When I pulled down the cover, both of his arms are broken.
Oh,
his arm is broken. Like he had 2 straight arms. I ain't take a picture of that. But I was just shocked. Like, he got 2 straight arms. So when I'm looking at his body is not cut in the front. So I'm like, why is he cut from behind? So I started taking pictures of his headshot, of his head. And I took a picture. I said, do you mind if I take a picture? He said, yo, this is your husband. He said, I got to call a medical examiner because I don't even see the bullet. So take whatever you got to do. So I took the pictures. I left. I've been calling that man since today. He will not pick up his phone. I even went to the mortuary board and had a hearing because I snuck back to the funeral parlor in February. This happened June 22nd, 2018. I snuck up to the funeral parlor because the lawyer that I had at the time. Okay, let me rewind back. After I seen the body, I had a meeting with the prosecutor to see the tape with that man, Omar, that knew the prosecutor. It was this guy named with him, Pastor Steffi, that was supposed to be working with Al Sharpton, close to Al Sharpton, right?
Mm-hmm.
So before I met Omar, I met this dude, Hassan, right? So we in the eatery eating. He said, well, you know what? I got a lawyer for you. I never to the last week looked at the last name of that man, Omar. Since he had the same last name of the lawyer, Omar Malone and Hassan Malone. They are related.
Oh my God.
And I just looked at that last week. How are you going to trial a case in New Jersey when you fly from Florida? So when I looked at the picture of his profile and I see him in person, that shit looks like 2 different people. But I never said anything. I said, I know people age, but crack don't black. Black don't crack. This don't even look like the same person. Right? So we in there. So he said, okay, we went to the prosecutor office. So the meeting was at 3 o'clock. They wasn't ready. 3:30, they wasn't ready. 4 o'clock, they wasn't ready. 4:30, they wasn't ready. 5 o'clock, they walk in. Oh, only 80% of the tape ready. What you mean 80% of the tape is ready? What you mean? So, okay, so we walked up to the office to view the tape. The man walks in there with headphones. So he's forwarding the tape to where he wants to start the tape from.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at the lawyer like, when you going to stop him? When you going to tell him to take off those headphones and start the tape from the beginning? So they don't know at this time I got my phone on recorded. I'm recording everything. They asked me, do I want to sit down? No, I do not want to sit down because I don't know how I'm going to react. Took off my shoes and everything. So he's playing the tape, and they show when he's apprehended. You can't see no cars. You can't even see my car. All you hear is audio. So I said, where the car is at? Oh, it didn't pick up. I said, okay, cool. So you hear Jermaine in the back seat of the car having a whole conversation, screaming, telling him, the handcuff's too tight, bitch. Then he said, damn, I don't even disrespect women. But being as though one of his arms is paralyzed, they had the handcuffs probably so far up, it was hurting.
Right.
So he's screaming for his shoes at first. He had no shoes on. So the cop come there and tell him to lean back. You know, if you lean back on handcuffs, that shit hurt. So he told him to lean back. So while Jermaine leaning back, he started punching him in his face. So you hear Jermaine saying, why are you hitting me in my face? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Then on the transmission radio call, you hear white BMW. You hear Jermaine say, I ain't trying to steal no white BMW. So they playing that. So it's at 3 minutes. I said, bingo. They said, bingo what? I said, y'all not making me watch no tape or no tape edited that he blew his head off. I said, this starts the narrative right here. I start beating him from the police car. I'm out of here. I'm not watching that. So you would think, as my lawyer, he was going to come behind me. No, he did. He didn't come behind me at all. They was in there probably politicking on what they was going to do and how they was going to derail the situation. Another detective came out. He said, "You okay?" I said, "No." And I walked out the building. So he watched me out the window walk all the way down to the store. My phone was still on record. I came back, sitting across the street from the building. He comes outside. Phone still on record. They are so adamant about me not watching this tape. He said, "You don't want to watch that tape." I said, "Yeah, you're right." You know, stroking his ego. Yeah, I said, "Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see the tape." Mm-hmm. Okay. So after we left, they came out. Omar asked, and Mr. Steffi asked me, was it okay? So we went back to Mr. Steffi's office. So I said, "So what happened?" He was like, "Well, you know, I saw Jermaine shoot herself. But they saying that at first he tried to point the gun at the officer." He said, "I didn't see that." So I said, "Okay." So I made a joke with him. I said, "Yeah, because when he in the doghouse, you know, we got into other things." I said, "Yeah, when we in the doghouse, I'll make him sleep in the tent in the backyard. Now the tent in the backyard is for his son and him playing camping."
Mm-hmm.
So why they trying to use that and to say Jermaine never lived with me? That's in the report too. Right. So when I came back from Jersey, the tent was down. Right? So I asked my neighbor who took the tent down. She said, "I did." I said, "Why? And who told you to?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the interim of me driving back home, Jermaine's federal lawyer called me crying on the phone. And this is the only way I got home without losing my mind. Because I programmed myself to think Jermaine was locked up so I could make it home okay. Because I got a 2.5-hour ride. This Caucasian lady that I thought didn't like him, you know, she's a federal lawyer. She wanted him to do what he had to do. This lady is crying on the phone saying Jermaine didn't kill himself. I never told nobody that.
Oh my God.
Right, lady cried on the phone and said Jermaine didn't kill himself. How do she know when I didn't even tell her? I ain't tell her nothing that happened. I didn't even make it home yet.
What the hell is going on in New Jersey?
So then, okay, so strange things started happening. You know, I'm pulling up to my parking lot. High beams are on. I can't see them. F-150, they could see me. So the stuff started getting too spooky. So I left the state. And I came back. Before I left, Omar emailed me. But before we left the prosecutor office, I emailed Omar 30 questions, and number 9 was, when we heard Jermaine getting beat from the car, why couldn't we see blah, blah, blah? After that, I never talked to that man after he left the prosecutor office. He sent me a text message. No, he sent me an email saying he could no longer represent me on the case. He had a family emergency.
Whoa.
So August, I'm back in Jersey again. I found another lawyer, old lawyer, Hawkins. He fought the old boxer hurricane case. So before I tell the lawyer anything about the story, I showed a picture. He said, "Damn, they beat the shit out of him." Same thing Omar said. Now they flip it to say, "I never told her that. She crazy." All right. We ain't never told her he got beat. What? Yes, you did. I said, okay. So, lawyer, Mr. Hawkins, he had we had them on like 20 charges. We had Union Police, we had Hillside Police, we had the sheriff, we had the lieutenant, we had the captain, we had everybody because they violated so many civil rights. Because they said that he was suicidal. He was asking them to kill him. Please kill me. Why y'all ain't kill me? So if he he was in that manic stage, he was supposed to go to crisis. That was a 5150. Because I know he was foaming from his mouth.
Right.
I know he was foaming from his mouth because he was already at that manic stage.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, I guess when you could see, well, I ain't watched the tape because I'm asked for the tape because I wanted a forensic analyst to look at the tape. And that's what I asked for. I'm going to get to that. So, Mr. Hawkins, he said, you take the case, bop, 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 bop. So he said, well, we're going to leave the body in the funeral. We're going to ask the funeral parlor to preserve the body for the case. Okay. February, we sneak up there. Knock on the door. They said, Covington here. They scrambling. They said they ain't let us in yet. They scrambling. So they finally let us in. So the lawyer, Ms. Hawkins, said, so we here to see Covington. Take us down to see Covington. They said, we can't. So we like, what? He said, oh, he been here too long, too many bodies in the way. He said, okay, well, take my camera and take a picture of him. They said, we can't do that. Mr. Curry's at a funeral. He'd be right back. Mr. Curry never came.
Mm.
So we in the conference room. 30 minutes later, they rolled a dead body in the conference room. I said, who that? They said, your husband. I said, what's the width and the lift of this body bag right here? Because in my mind, I already know this not him. That man's too tall. I said, so I threw that bag so I could verify my husband. They said, we can't. I said, you can't? I said, so I'm supposed to verify that's my husband. She said, because his name on his bag. I said, that's not an option. So I said, I'll be right back. I went outside, called another funeral home, Perry Funeral Home. So let me speak to the funeral director. So I said, ma'am, I need you right now. She said, I said, ma'am, I need you right now, and I want you to answer my question. I said, in order for me to bury or cremate somebody, do I not have to verify that body? She said, by law, you have to verify that body because you have to know whether or not that's your husband.
Right.
I said, thank you very much. Walked in there. I said, so are you going to unfill his bag? They said, we can't. This is the way he came. That's not the way he came. That means because I got pictures. So when we left, the lawyer started laughing. I said, what's funny? I said, because that wasn't him. He's fine now. He said, but we need them to preserve the body. I said, well, what they said was a lie. He said, I know that too. They was lying. You have to verify that body. Okay, so now it's time for him to go to the prosecutor office to see the tape. So he goes to the prosecutor office and sees the tape. A month later, he dropped the case. He said, I have to drop the case because you don't trust me. Mm-hmm. Because I asked him. Yeah, I asked him. I said, so how long we gonna have this man in the funeral parlor? I said, how long will you keep your wife in the funeral parlor? So he was like, but you don't trust me? I said, that don't have nothing to do about trust. Because all the information, I did that walk. I provided him with everything. So he said, I was crying on the phone. I said, Mr. Hawkins, come on, I need you. We got this open shut case. He said, I can't because you don't trust me. I said, well, damn, did they scare him too? Hmm. But what he did was he gave me everything pertaining to the file. That's how I got all that paperwork. And he gave me the videotape. The videotape never played because it was corrupt. Mm. So when I gave it to the new lawyer now, that I have, Judy Bloom, that's in the same county that I'm suing, that didn't do shit. She never re-questioned the witnesses. I said, what about the dude that was sitting next to him? I said, I'm going to ask you two questions, right? I said, when Jermaine shot himself, what happened next? Because I asked every lawyer this. What happened next? What happened next? Tell me what happened next. Nobody can answer that question.
Right.
But he shot himself. He's right-handed. So the gun that's in the report, I built it from their website. And it's a tutorial up there. And the guy doing the tutorial about the automatic safety lock, the ASL lock, saying no civilian can take this gun out the holster.
Hmm.
The inmate gets no blood on him and sat right next to him. So I said, I'm going to ask you a question. I said, are you going to get the tape analyzed? She said, yeah. 2 weeks ago, she said, no. I said, no. I said, that's my closure because I don't have a body. That's what I'm asking you to do. I said, because let me tell you something. I'm born and raised in New Jersey, if you didn't know. And when I was looking at the tape, the fire hydrant was a totally different color. And when I asked my grandmother, I said, Mom, because I know I'm not crazy, what color is the fire hydrant colors in New Jersey? She told me a color. I said, yeah, okay, because when I was looking at the tape, the color was a totally different color. So I asked Judy Bloom, I said, why do you think the tape won't play in your system? Because the tape wouldn't play for Mr. Hawkins either. But the prosecutors wanted to come to his office, and his son said, no, y'all can't come to the office. We will come down there, but y'all not coming up there fucking with our computers. Because in order to see the tape, it had to be on that software. Now time is going. Now I'm wasting so much time. Now the tape is ready, 100% ready now by now. Because I got derailed so much, and so long has left. You could do whatever you want to a tape. Like I said, Sandra Bland was there when they took a mugshot.
Right.
She said, well, this ain't a Sandra Bland case. I said, I know, ma'am. This is worse than Sandra Bland. Because I don't have a damn body. I didn't even receive his clothes or his shoes because that would tell a story.
Oh.
They gave nothing but a smash box with his wallet with blood still on the box. They totally disrespected me, man. So when I took it up to the mortuary, it took me 5 months to get his death certificate. I got his death certificate in November because the funeral parlor went and signed off on it. So I'm looking at the death certificate. I said, wow, it says crematory. Well, I cremated. I ain't signed no papers. So the lady said, well, we have to put that down there even though we didn't do it because Curry said he's still in his funeral parlor. Now, this is 2020. I said, are you fucking serious? So he's still there?
Oh.
So, right. So, first you disrespected me. I'm thinking he's still living. A dead man can't send a text. When that text came through, he was already dead. What was the probable cause of y'all pulling him over? What did he do? Because the first thing you do is run a tag. Tax would have came out fine.
Right.
On the police pursuit, you see reckless driving because they say he was in an accident, left the scene of that accident. That story changed. My car was reported stolen. That story changed. Then the last of the Mohicans, he tried to carjack somebody. How? My car was smashed on both sides. Because in Jersey, when you take chase, they didn't identify themselves as the police. They didn't have cherry tops. They was unmarked cars. New Jersey is known for carjacking. He's in a BMW. So he probably thought he was going to get carjacked. Okay, he took the chase. Y'all caught him. Okay? Y'all caught him and y'all smashed the car from the passenger and y'all smashed the cars from the driver to the point that I couldn't even open up my trunk. So how did he get out? So the story they said was he hit a pole. When I took the pictures to a mechanic, they say, you don't have no front end damage. He didn't have no pole.
Right.
So she called me last Friday. I said, so you're not going to get the tape analyzed because you said you saw him do it. Did you see him take the gun out the holster? Or did you see him shoot himself? Because based on the report that you're reading, those reports from the IA, Internal Affairs, it was they gave him a high five for killing a nigga that day.
What?
Because no way in the world, nowhere in the world is guns permitted in processing. See, the cop he had an altercation with used to be a sheriff's officer. That's how the sheriff got involved in the lawsuit because the prosecutor and the sheriff was there while they was doing his autopsy. None of those bruises on his face are in his autopsy. Why not? many of them say they carried his hands out in 2 brown paper bags. Why? If it's only one hand was handcuffed, why are you carrying 2 of his hands out in paper bags?
Right.
To me, that means both hands were handcuffed. It probably was the time he was sitting next to that inmate clip. But then when you read it, it says he was in like the report room, the processing room. So when they heard the gunshot and the cop ran in there, the cop that he had the altercation with, Vita, said, "Oh, he stole my gun. He stole my gun." But he never let the gun stay in Jermaine's hand. He took the gun from Jermaine. Why would you do that? If it's suicide, why? Where's the inmate screaming? So are you a trained Marine vet? You ain't feel him coming up on you? The cop that was watching you, unless y'all was in that report room by yourself and you was fucking him up.
Yeah.
Because you went to the hospital for a scratch on your forearm. Y'all left that man sitting there dying. He didn't get no medical attention. They say he died instantly. That's a damn lie. Because the female officer, she brought her lawyer when she was doing the interview. Why would you bring your lawyer? It's just a suicide. Why would you bring your lawyer? She broke down. And they saying, no, you don't have to worry. This is not your fault. Mr. Covington caused all of this. He caused this whole situation. This is not your fault. What? What do you mean? So just for instance, right? He did. So that means that your gun wasn't locked. Your gun was out that holster. So if Jermaine was saying, he wanted y'all to kill him, you just assisted with a murder-suicide.
Right.
Because of your negligence, which what makes you privy to have the only police officer that you could carry your gun around? You ain't no sheriff officer no more. You a plain police officer now. So when you get locked up, and before you hit that building, cops gotta put their guns in a safe. Why didn't you? What made Jermaine ask y'all, have y'all ever killed anybody? Because that man knew he was going to die that day. He wasn't scared of going to jail. Sad to say. But let me tell you something. Based on who he is, if Jermaine would have got a hold of that gun, Jermaine would have took them down with him. I'm telling you that. Everybody knows that.
Right.
Everybody knows that Jermaine would have got a hold of that gun. That cop. He would have went down with him. And then if you would have said he turned the gun on his dad, that would have been probably believable. But to shoot yourself for a traffic stop?
No.
That don't even make sense.
No.
Jermaine was stopped in North Carolina before. Wasn't supposed to be there. So you think when the police pulled them over, you think, no, he didn't. This case is crazy. They just totally disrespectful. So now she's saying, well, they want to offer you something less than $1 million because he's not worth nothing.
Whoa. Were those exact words?
Yeah, that's what she said. I said, what you mean he's not worth what? Because he worked under the table? I said, wait a minute. First of all, it's pure negligence. They assume responsibility of negligence. I don't have a body. She said, well, the body don't go with the case. I said, ma'am, it does. No body, no evidence, no case, because they never knew I had those pictures.
Right.
Until they started sending people to me that I thought was going to help me. So that's how they got the picture. So then the narrative changed. He's trying to carjack somebody. No, because all I need is that recording, because when it comes to that point of him screaming, stop beating me in the face, it goes like this. You can hear something blowing over that. Once you get past 3.10, it picks up again as normal. So when I was trying to send that recording to the lawyer, they intercepted my phone. It said saving. I took a screen print of it. I used to work at Verizon 11 years. I was a technician. had to ride back and tell him, his only son, like, your father never coming back. My son can't say father, dad, or Jermaine to this day.
Oh my God. How old is your son?
He just turned 17 in December.
Oh my
And
God.
we only had each other. We didn't have family. We was the three little bears.
Right.
Right? We was married for 13 and a half years, friends for 20.
Damn.
Like, and I say that, man, for 20 years. And this one day I couldn't save him, man. He didn't even get a phone call. He wasn't even processed yet. So when the news reporter took this story, she said, yo, this is messed up. 6 months later, you still don't have a body. She said, I'm going to forward your lawyer some of this paperwork I got, because some of this paperwork that I got, your lawyer don't even have. How can the news reporter get more information than my own lawyer? So some of those papers you're going to see double, because they send the papers by mistake.
Okay. I was wondering
One
about that.
One